All right, let's go ahead and get all of the live studio audience. Okay, my persuasive speech today is going to be on the how you should close your door at night to save lives in case of a fire. And you guys probably, this is a true story, you guys probably don't know a little girl named Natalie, but Captain Jim Gordon knows her. And he met her on that night a few months ago on that fire way back that was happening in the lakes. She was trapped inside of a fire and he was able to pull her out. A little history about that fire was that it started in the garage and it made its way into the kitchen and into the dining room through an open door between the garage and the kitchen. And we got reports that our little girl was trapped, and we made our way in there and put the fire out, but they were searching and they couldn't find her. Captain Jim Gordon and his crew were getting ready to go up to the second story to see if they can do a search and find her up there. And while he was sitting there waiting to go upstairs and waiting for the heat to kind of dissipate up there, he turned around and he decided to check a couple of rooms behind him. He turned around and literally the hallway that he went down was charred black from ceiling to floor. You couldn't tell there was even rooms down there, and he saw just a slightly ajar door, and he went into it and realized that he was walking into a kid's room. It was as clear, just like this, as far as the paint just had some smoke in it. So he got down on his knees and he just started to search this room. And he's coming across all these kid toys, and he comes across this tent, this kid's tent, and he pushes it out of the way and it shoves him into the middle of the room a little bit. He puts his hand out and he finds her sitting in the middle of the room. She's unconscious, but she's breathing. So he scoops her up and he runs out and he runs to the paramedics. He gives her off to the paramedics. They take her to the hospital. She spends a few days in the ICU and she wakes up, makes a full recovery. 4-year-old girl. True story. And what saved her life, literally, was that closed door. The outside of her door was black as can be from the fire and the heat and the smoke. The inside of the door looked just like this. And she was able to survive in that survivable space. So, I was at that fire. I was a safety officer at that fire, actually. And I saw firsthand how a closed door can save a person's life in case of a fire. So many people are killed every year in house fires, and closing a door at night before you go to bed could possibly save many, many lives. So what are doors really designed to do? They're really designed to protect you from the outside elements. And Sean DeCrane from Fire Engineering, he stated, their purpose is to be a barrier at the entrance to a building, room, or vehicle while providing protection for those inside from the outside elements. However, when people think of a door, they don't think of it as a life-saving device. So, Catherine Thornbeck from ABC News, they did a feature report called Closing Your Bedroom Door at Night Could Save Your Life in a Fire. And she reported that half the fires, and I didn't know this, but half of the fires in the United States, half of the fire deaths in the United States, people are killed between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. in a house fire. So, Firefighter Nation magazine had partnered up with the UL and Philadelphia Fire Department. They started to do a study on the differences between a closed door and an open door in a fire. And they realized with the building construction and the furnishings that we have today, in the old days you had about 17 minutes to escape from a fire, and today with all the plastic furnishings we have less than 3. So they did a training exercise, Philadelphia Fire Department, on that, and they lit a fire in a house with an open door, and they recorded the temperatures, and they realized that the temperature in the room with the open door with no fire in it had temperatures of 500 degrees and 6,000 parts per million of CO in it. They took another fire and they did it on they took a closed door to it, and that room, after the fire was put out, was less than 100 degrees, and the CO temperature was 10 times less. So they proved right there that there's a survivable space in there. So, what can we do to promote lives with saving lives with a closed door? Well, it starts in our own home. Okay, for myself, I compartmentalize my house before I leave, before I go to bed, and I've taught my family to do it. As a matter of fact, my teenage son doesn't like talking to his parents so much that when he comes home from school, he closes his door to avoid us, not even realizing that he's saving his own life doing it. Okay? So, what do we do? How do we get the word out? Social media is probably the #1 thing. Through Facebook and all the social media things we have out there today. Also, when we interact with people in the public on our job to promote closing the door and how it can survive, how it has survivable space, and how you can survive a fire in your house. The benefits are the most important for the public, but they're also important for firefighters too. Having a closed door allows us to go in and search a room, a more survivable room. It makes it, the visibility will obviously be easier for us to search that room quicker. And also a closed door not only will protect the victim, it could also protect us as firefighters too. So it makes us safer, the whole environment makes us safer. It's by compartmentalizing the house. But also compartmentalizing the house confines the fire to a certain room. And a story that I have with that is we were on a fire not too long ago that the lady was sleeping in the middle of the night, and she woke up to these popping sounds, and she had a space heater going, and she looked, and the outlet was starting to pop and spark, and it caught her curtains on fire. She's in her room with her closed door. She gets up to let everybody know in the house is on fire. She opens up her bedroom door. She knocks on everybody's door to get all of her family out. They all leave their doors open. They run down the hallway. They go out the front door, they open the front door, and they run out the front door, leaving the front door open. So by the time the fire department got there, the entire house was engulfed with fire. It was blowing out that front door and blowing out that front window. The only 2 rooms that survived were an unoccupied room and her daughter's room, and both of them had a closed door. The daughter apparently walked out and closed her door onto her room behind her and ran out front. Her room survived with no problems. They had an unoccupied room that survived that had a closed door already, that nobody was in it. Everything in the house was gutted. They lost all their valuables. If she had just closed her door on the way out, the fire probably would have been confined just to her room and maybe got in the attic. But it would have saved a lot of property. They lost their entire house. So, in conclusion, it's been proven in studies and training that closing a door at night or closing your door when you leave your house can save lives and property through confining the fire just to that area. So we need to get into the public eye and educate them on the importance of closing the door. And many people know the stop, drop, and roll method and how that message got out throughout the country. If we just come up with just close your door, just imagine how far we can take that across the country in the future. And that's it. Thank you. Here's these. That's it. You can stop it.